In 2012, Christopher Kelly, a dedicated AIA member and rising star in the DC architectural community, died suddenly. Today, the AIA District of Columbia continues its impact on emerging professionals with the Christopher Kelly Leadership Development Program. Overseen by the chapter's Emerging Architects Committee, the annual 9-month experience trains and inspires the next generation of architecture leaders. Delivering the highest level of core content, the program allows its participant scholars to actually develop the education sessions. As the scholars share their feedback and knowledge about industry trends, they gain confidence in their craft and their leadership skills. The intimate class setting also encourages mentoring, team building, and long-lasting relationships. In its 4-year history, the program has already impacted the trajectory of its participants. They have taken on more leadership roles in their firms, in the AIA, and in their communities. And alumni scholars are also selected to serve on the advisory committee and possibly later as chair. The process engages them in chapter leadership roles, furthering the program's goals. Through committed donors, participants, and their firms, along with a robust structure and succession plan, the program is not only self-supporting, it provides annual chapter revenue. Plus, the successful framework can be shared and replicated in other chapters to extend the advancement of tomorrow's industry leaders. For its commitment to creating a sustainable leadership development program, AIA DC is recognized with the Grassroots Leadership Excellence Award for knowledge sharing initiatives.
All right, so that kind of gave you a brief overview of the program. It started in Washington, D.C. and is now spread, as you can see on the screen, through a number of different states. And actually, we have a couple others that have joined since this list was created. But in addition to, there's even more ones that are adding over time, I believe. Missouri is also another one that's being added. And we are also here in Detroit. Originally, it started as just a Detroit one, but we wanted to open it up to all of Michigan. So that's why I'm super excited that those of you who are on the west side of the state has joined us, because that just continues to help it grow. Basically, we just continue to go across statewide in a range, not only the project or the program longevity, but also the point of it is to expand your knowledge. The point of it is to help you with networking, to diversify. Each of these sessions, we have 8 sessions, and each of the session is on a specific topic. So this just increases the diversity of like session context and content with how you put it together and each scholar, how they do it. And it increases the mentorship and the network opportunities and encourages cross collaboration. In the past, we've also collaborated with other chapters in other states. So for example, last year we collaborated with Miami. So we not only had all the opportunities that were available in the Michigan area, but we also had a ton of opportunities in the Miami area, and the Detroit scholars or the Michigan scholars were able to take advantage of both groups. So currently we have 56 scholars who have gone through the program. Typically it's 16 scholars per year, but last year was a little bit different. We had 8, as you can see them highlighted down below, but this number keeps on growing. And that's something that we're super excited about, because this is just a pool of network for anybody that wants to be part of the program. Is you could reach out to any of these people. They've been through the program. They could help with any glitches or helping with resources. So who are these scholars? These scholars can be literally any of these categories and beyond. I mean, we have quite a few architects and designers in it. We've had urban planners. We currently have a structural engineer, 2 lighting designers, landscape designers, interiors. Pretty much anything related to this field will be able to benefit from the program. Obviously, if there's something in, doctors of science in neurosurgery, it might not be as beneficial. So where do we begin with this? We begin basically, like I mentioned, that there's 8 sessions. And the first one is basically boot camp. And that's where you start to collaborate with the cohorts that are going to be part of your year, and you start to brainstorm ideas based on specific topics. And when you do that, then you work within the resources that you have, but you can also seek other resources outside. So like I mentioned that we were in, did Miami and Michigan last year, that was seeking outside of our typical Michigan area to include the Miami group as well. Yeah, each session has a different topic. These are the topics that we are doing for this coming year. We have Working Together, which will be on October 15th. And this is understanding your own leadership skills and how do they relate to the rest of your team. This is also part of team problem solving. The roles of architects and other project stakeholders, and basically working with all the tons of different entities that you work with on a daily basis in the firm, and what's really some great resources on how to work with these other professions better. The next one is on November 12th, which is Engaging Your Community. This is kind of like it says, how do we take our profession, but take it to the next step and engage our community within the design, and how to work with the community and all the challenges that that can also create. What's the best business practices for the public interest? The next one is Entrepreneurship and Management. This will be on December 10th. And this is not only office and firm management, but leadership, ownership, transitions, etc. Planning, how do you plan for entrepreneurship, business strategies and project management strategies and standards. Session 4 is going to be January 14th, which is the art of negotiation. This also gets into ethics and law, contracts, code of professional ethics, behavioral. Negotiating contracts is often a big one for this topic, though it doesn't have to be, and also negotiating not only for project, but also for your career development. Session 5 is on February 11th, which is Closing the Deal. This is business and professional communications, but also public relations, presentations, writing, professional skills, use of social media, networking, business development, pursuing work. Like, how do you really narrow in and get exactly what you need on this project or on a career move? How do you close that and seal that deal? Session number 6 is March 11th, which is Industry, Culture, and Trends. This is sustainability efforts as they relate to the environment, economy, and social ethics, the use of technology within the practice, with whatever format you decide you want to focus on, learning and doing through the use of fabrications and research, and the social responsibilities as architects, as community leaders. Session 7 is on April 8th, which is expanding the definition of practice. This is researching and standards of care in the profession, education within the university, and roles of mentorships, which is actually kind of what this program is all about, is helping to mentor as well. Keeping abreast of new ideas through the academic settings and alternative business models, etc. Session 8, which is May 13th, will be the future of the practice. This is looking ahead into the profession and where do we think that the profession is going to go? How can we further the profession? This is leadership effectiveness and personal development, life-work balance, the roles of mentorship and recent graduates and recently licensed architects, developing your own career path through the reflection on the whole CKLDP program. That's one reason why we have it towards the end, etc. Those are just some ideas for each one of these topics, but it can totally be broadened into more things. It's more of, what do you want to do with the topic that you're given? And with your cohort, how do you want to explore this particular subject? And out of the entire years that we've been doing CKLDP, there's never been 2 sessions that are the same. We've never had identical speaker layouts or anything like that. It's always takes from a slightly different approach. So a typical session and leading up to it kind of follows this basic format. and there will be 8 teams with 2 scholars assigned to each team. They will, first of all, it's kind of 2 parts, developing a curriculum for a session and doing a report. So in the development of the curriculum, you are given a research topic and you research that one to figure out, like I said, what direction you want it to go. You provide and expand on the resources that you know and also reach outside. We have had in the past actually some really big name architects because someone decided that they wanted to try and get this person and they got them actually. So the fact that we are going to be a little bit virtual, which I will get into that in a moment, it expands your opportunities even more because you don't have to pay for their travel, etc. Then the next thing will be interviewing your speakers, narrowing down all those ideas and those concepts down to focusing in on what do you really want for this session. Seeking a venue. Now, this is going to tweak a little bit. In the fall, we're going to have virtual only, thanks to COVID. However, in the fall, we will evaluate in the spring. Basically, everyone will give an input. And if everyone's comfortable with it, then in the spring, we will have in session. For those of you who are on the other side of the state, that may include some travel or some staying overnight, etc. And we will work with you on that, whether it's compensating for some of the expenses, etc. But there would be some travel. And if we do have people that want to join from other areas, we might have one of the sessions over where they're from and everyone else travels over. We have done that in the past. And it's actually quite successful. So the next one is fundraising for your session. Which we'll get into that a little bit more in a minute, but each scholar is responsible for fundraising and learning how to fundraise to support their session and help bring in their speakers, because some of these speakers, especially the big names, do have speaker fees. So helping to support that and also supporting the AIA chapter. The scholars will be attending 2 planning sessions with the co-chairs. Typically this equals a phone call for like maybe an hour, half hour, something like that, twice before your actual session, just to help brainstorm, or if brainstorm is needed, or help debug or help guide, whatever is really needed for that session. If you have it all planned out and it's all good to go, then it's literally a 5-minute phone call. Provide a session booklet with an agenda and continuing education credits. This is basically just kind of an outline, a bio of your speakers, etc., so that the people that are coming to your session, your fellow cohorts, will have some idea what they're walking into before the session actually starts. This does include AIA continuing education credits. I believe off the top of my head, it's 4 credits for specific sessions. And that's thanks to the governing bodies that allows certain sessions to be credits and certain sessions are not. So at this point, I believe it is just 4 credits for one of the sessions.
Right.
And then each session, it's once a month. We are doing it the second weekend of the month in general, which if you're selected, we will definitely be giving you a schedule. But in general, it's the second weekend of the month on a Friday afternoon. And they'll go from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then there's like a social time afterwards. Typically, if we're virtual, then we'll have kind of a virtual happy hour, something like that. If we're in person, then we'll meet up at some sort of social location where we can, really get to know each other better in more than just an academic setting. And then the second part, so that's kind of the first part on putting together your session. And then the second part is putting together a summary report. This is, you're doing a report on someone else's session and you'll be assigned which session. So say you are assigned to session number 3, then you're doing the report on session number 4, for example. That is basically just summarizing what it is so that anybody that wants to learn more about the program or wants to learn about that session, or your fellow cohorts wants to go back and review it, then they can read through it and get a synopsis of it basically. So this is often a question, tuition and assistance. Currently the program is $450 for AIA members and $500 for non-AIA members. But obviously it's open to AIA or non-AIA, licensed or non-licensed, it doesn't matter. It's open to all the above. Some people have asked about if there is a assistance, and That is based on the application on being able to basically provide information on why you want assistance for it. And that would be up to 50% of the tuition cost based on the number of participants that are wanting assistance. One of the questions we often have is during COVID, how do we handle that during COVID? So like I mentioned, all the sessions in the fall are going to be virtual. The sessions in the spring will be virtual or in person, depending on what the comfort level of the cohort is. If the basically the vote is to do it in person, then we are going to follow the CDC guidelines. If someone's not able to attend, we will try to accommodate them by having a mixed media type of situation where those can view online, or if they are feeling sickness symptoms, obviously we wouldn't want them in person. So we would ask them to stay at home so that then we don't expose everybody else, etc. Basically what we all heard the last year, right?
Right. Can I add one thing about that? So if this is virtual, all of the virtual sessions are recorded. So you will have the ability to kind of rewatch the information, which is a little bit different than what we had done in the past. Because if you're in person, it's not recorded because you're all there. But working with mixed media, we would have to find a solution that would work for those who wouldn't be able to attend by recording kind of live event, much like what we're doing now, so that you would have access to the session and the information and to some degree participate in the sessions.
Thank you, Shanita, for
Sure.
popping it in. Obviously, we don't know what the future is going to hold. So as I mentioned, we are going to reevaluate it in the fall. And if everyone's comfortable in the fall to have all the sessions in person, we will work with that too. So it's not like an absolute have to do it this way, because this is an evolving program. And it's based on the scholars' input. And we really much value that. And we take it seriously on their input on what they want as well. So that's kind of a brief overview of it, and I wanted to open the floor to any questions.
Yeah, Rachel asked if CKLDP was just architecture industry focused or if it was cross-disciplinary.
I would say it has an emphasis in architecture, yes, but like I mentioned, it definitely can be cross-disciplinary. We have had people that have absolutely nothing to do with architecture, but were great speakers on a specific topic, and they came in and presented on that topic. So I would definitely say it can be cross-disciplinary.
Even though we have those 8 sessions, those are a benchmark. And when you are paired together, you can take that however you want. So if you want to change the format and not specifically focus in on an architecture-based component, it's something that we can work towards and move that session in that direction. So it's all agreed upon as a cohort. You all get to pick and choose the direction. We're here to advise you on the format and the basis of the program, but really all of the sessions are your content. So if you want to have a great session, it's because you created this great session, not because we led you to that. We're just guiding you in the information, maybe providing context, but really it's all this is the great thing about this program, is that it's not like a session where somebody set up something and you have to attend and you're just listening. You are completely a part of this process. You get to pick what you want to understand and learn and move forward and continue that foundation of your leadership and the topics that are important to you as you move forward in your career. So I just wanted to stress that. And so the program is what the cohort makes it. To date, we've had a scholar from Kalamazoo. We've also had scholars from Grand Rapids. And as Stephanie also mentioned, we collaborated with AIA Miami. So our reach at this moment is kind of, it's all across the country. And as Stephanie also mentioned, we've had speakers from all across the country as well as outside of the country, as far as like Africa and possibly Europe. We work with the time zones, they work with us on the time zones, but again, the reach of what we can do at this point is endless, especially in this format, which is a really great opportunity compared to kind of meeting in person. Not to say the meeting in person is not great, it's also very great as well, but in terms of being able to get that much further reach, it is allowed us to expand beyond our imaginations from when we originally started the program.
Yeah, we've had speakers from I believe it was Nigeria and Mexico and California and Arizona and Colorado. And they were a variety of places last year because they didn't have to fly in. So they were a whole lot more willing to remote in, like the one remoted in from Mexico on vacation or something like that, to do a session. So.
And I think one of our last sessions, we were invited by AIA Colorado to have a session with Moshe Sadif, which is, he's kind of a star architect. And so that was a really good opportunity to have like an hour with him, to listen to his process and how his team works, and to answer some of the questions that we provided. So again, the reach, is asking a question to whomever you really want to reach out to. And again, some people have been very receptive. And to be honest, there are people out there who are willing to help the emerging professionals as you're being kind of guided to the next step. If it's something small or something big, everybody's at different levels. And that's also very important too in the program. We've had some younger designers and architects who are just kind of coming, either transitioning from college to the profession. And we've also had people who've been well established in their profession for X amount of years. So it's a really good mix of being able to learn from each other and learn through the program from each session that we have.
We've also had great diversity within the program. I believe one year we had out of like 5 or 6 different countries represented out of just the cohort of 8 or 10 people. So we love diversity, but it depends on who wants to apply for the program as well. So
sure.
We are definitely inclusive for anybody that wants to join.
So may I ask a question for anybody who is online? I see lovely face of Laura as well as Becky. Since I can physically see you, would any of you would like to tell me like how you either heard of the program or who recommended it, or you would like to share?
Sure. Both Laura and I are members of AIA Southwest Michigan.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
And we are in an ARE study group
cool.
that is hopefully starting back up again soon. We took a break for COVID and then for Prometric to get their act together. And so we're hopefully starting again soon. And one of our members who's kind of leading the group from our AIA chapter's perspective is Hayward.
Oh, awesome. Love Hayward.
So
Absolutely.
he suggested it to us at our last meeting.
Yes, he's officially an alumni of the program. And before we ended the 2020 program cohort, we were actually going to get to Southwest. Norm Hammond over there, he's a big supporter of the program. And the entire group from Metro Detroit was going to go stay over in Kalamazoo, but it was literally at COVID. And we had to make changes. So one day we're going to get back over there to Southwest and really hang out with you guys and get to meet you guys. Spread the love and leadership.
Yes.
It's great that you guys have a study group. It's amazing. How about Doris and Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, I heard about it. One of my former coworkers went through the program, and I guess I know a few that have gone through this program now. So I was just curious to see what it's all about, and I was trying to listen in to see if that's something that I can commit to, right?
Sure.
Because it is a commitment. I understand that. So yeah, I just wanted to learn more. Thank you for sharing your insight.
No problem. Thanks for joining.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Rachel?
And yeah, I actually heard about it from you, Shanita, originally last year, a couple of years ago. And so just knowing a lot of employees at QE that have gone through it, just kind of interested also to see what it's all about. So thank you.
Thank you for coming. And we have Stephanie Sweet. Love the last name.
Thank you. A handful of my coworkers have been in the program and they speak really highly of it. So I was interested to learn more about it and understand the session breakdown. That was really helpful, Stephanie, when you broke down the different topics and stuff like that. I guess the question that I have with that is, are the topics assigned, or like at the boot camp session, is it kind of like a survey or something that kind of aligns you with one of those? And then are the partners assigned, or is it like a more natural little mixer to get to know one another and then you kind of pair up with that?
Great question. Basically what we do is we take all the people that have been accepted into the program and we send them a survey and says, please rank your, we give them all the topics and we say, please rank your number one, you would love to do this one, down to last resort, not as crazy about this topic. I'll still do it, just not as crazy, kind of thing. And we then just basically line them up between all the different scholars and try our best to give them the first, second, or maybe third choice. That's our preference. And then we take the ones that, these two people that are on the list, they both want the same topic, so we put them together. Or we have put in some other factors, like, for example, if we had someone that's been in the profession for 10 years, and then we have someone that is a new grad practically, we probably aren't going to put two new grads on the same team. We'll want to put someone with, someone that has more experience so they can help with a mentorship within the program type of thing. There's a lot of factors like that we put together, but we really try and give you at least your first or second pick. So then you have, again, we want you guys to have say in what you're doing for your session. Now, obviously, you're going to enjoy it more if it's a topic that you're passionate about, and we really want to be able to give the best to you. So.
And I will say that in the last 4 years, this is our 5th year running the program. It's amazing that the scholars that we've selected, they've always been able to get in the top 1 to 3 kind of choice. So, and it ranged. So no one was really unhappy with the topic that they selected, because it was in, again, their top 3 choices, which is it's a good sign.
Everybody wants only 3 of the choices. We've never seen that. So
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for answering those questions. That's helpful.
No problem.
So there's 2 more people. There's Mikkel. If you like to tell me how you.
Yes, of course.
Cool.
Hello, my name is Mikkel.
Yeah.
A colleague of mine went through the program, Iman Samani.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yes, we went to school together, and she, spoke highly of the program, and I wanted to attend the session to hear and get some more details. So thank you for that, very in-depth and thorough presentation.
No problem. Thanks for joining us. Iman's great.
Yeah, she's on the committee. She's going to be on the advisory committee as well. So again,
text her.
Yeah. So again, leadership does happen within the program. Stephanie, she was as well as myself. I was part of the inaugural cohort, and I was a part of the advisory committee, and then I became chair. And so leadership has grown to run the program within. So again, if you do get accepted or apply to the program, we hope you do. If this is of interest, much like I took on the role, I had a vision for how the program was going to evolve. And now this has been, handed over, passing the torch to Stephanie to take that again, to evolve the program in the way that she can see it. So as you are a scholar in the program, there are tweaks. No one's perfect in the program, but if there are tweaks that you see, or grabbing other contexts from other programs that you've been a part of to massage and kind of make this even more a better program, it is up to you to evolve as well, because we're all learning and we're growing, and we're creating really great connections and networks from across the world. So, there's one more person, Sandra K. Oh,
hey,
Sanda, not Sandra. Sandra.
Sorry, I'm on mute. My name is Sanda. I'm also part of Becky Fuller's ARE study group, and got some information from Hayward.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just wanted to get some information and hear about the program as well.
Sweet. I'm glad, again, we're glad, and and I'll let Stephanie kind of move from here, but I'm very happy that you all were able to come in and listen to the program. Again, we definitely want you to apply if that is of interest. And great questions, great context. I can't say anything greater than my experience of being a part of this program for the last 4 years. I definitely have evolved from where I was, from a professional to kind of where I am. I am taking on much more leadership roles within the office, as well as for what I'm doing outside of the office. So again, I can't speak highly of this program and what it has done for me in the last 4 years. And with that, I will leave Stephanie unless anyone else has any additional questions.
I mean, my experience was similar to what Shanita was saying. I went through the program. At first, I was a little unsure. And then I went through the program. It got to where I was absolutely looking forward to the next session because there's so much value and so much learning. And a lot of seminars, you hear the stereotype of there's so much fluff and there's so much other stuff in it. This one doesn't. It literally condenses down to the good stuff. It's been my experience with it. And it helped me grow considerably to the point where I am now. And like Shanita said, I mean, I can't speak highly enough about the program and just the opportunities to learn, the opportunities to get to know other people in the profession, as well as expand beyond, because like I mentioned, we've had structural engineers, we have lighting designers, etc., as part of the program, and that just further expands. It's not just architects. Yeah. So, are there any other questions? Because I don't want to take up your whole evening. So if there are any other questions, feel free to either unmute or send them in the chat. I also put an email in the chat. So if you think of a question later on, feel free to just drop us an email and we'll respond as soon as possible to you and try and get you an answer. And if we get the same question on multiple things, then I'll make a mental note to make sure and put that in the presentation for next year. And yeah, are there any other questions?
If you lose that email, you can pretty much email any address on the AIA Detroit website and I will see it and make sure that it gets to the right people.
Well, with that, you have all the email content. You have access to the application. And again, we look forward to looking at your packets of information for applications.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good
Yes, thank
evening.
you.
Thank you.